Hi, my name's Stephen. I'm eating apples, drinking summer fruits juice, and I'm listening to Rollins Band. Hell yes! I'm actually quite nervous here. This is kind of a really weird idea, really. I decided to do a psoriasis video blog, and I'm having to use this crap webcam, so everything looks really, really green. So I supposedly just probably just start with when I first got psoriasis. I was 8 years old. It wasn't really bad, but I knew that my dad had it and my grandma had it, and I suppose I didn't really think about it much at first. Just kind of run of the mill kind of thing. I was hospitalized. I was admitted to a dermatology ward a couple of times when I was a kid. When I got to being a teenager, I didn't really want to do that any longer. You get self-conscious, you don't want to leave school. It was kind of weird to come back to school sometimes, actually, when you'd been in hospital for weeks on end. You'd come back and there were kids there that didn't know you and stuff. I kind of had to come back and put a couple of kids into place a couple of times when I was 8. I kind of used pretty much every topical treatment that was going, I suppose. A lot more of the kind of nasty extreme stuff that kind of burns skin and needs to be applied with cotton buds by nurses when I was in the ward, and kind of the more mild stuff when I was at home. Remembering there were stupid things back then, like they thought the scaling, if allowed to grow, would just kind of allow the psoriasis to kind of spread, and that by removing the scaling, scraping it off, essentially, you'd be able to fight it back. So my mum used to scratch my head a lot for me. It was for my own benefit. It used to drive me mental. I used to get a little fed up with that, but my mum was obviously always there for me, always helped in any way possible. And it kind of normalised it for me. I had it from such a young age that I mean, I don't really remember not having psoriasis, I suppose. But then, as I get older, I don't know. It seems to be more of a problem now. I'm not really sure why. It's kind of lost confidence in myself somewhere or something, and that's kind of what's driven me to doing this video blog. I feel like maybe there's other people who are feeling the same way. Maybe even people who've had it for years and years and years and years. I mean, it doesn't get easier to deal with. It's kind of cumulative, the stress, the kind of self-awareness on a daily basis, always having to take time to put on creams, even when you're just using kind of moisturizing topical treatments like 50-50 Epiderm, these kind of things. You actually have to be quite disciplined in making sure that you get it done, because otherwise you wake up the next day and your skin's gone mad, you're in pain, there's blood everywhere, and it is depressing. So I suppose this blog is just kind of, it's going to be part about how I feel and how it affects my life, and part of the medication that I'm using. I'm going to throw out my experiences, and people can take them as advice or not. I don't have a medical background, but I mean, I've been using these creams and medicines and various other things for a long time, and my experiences will be unique. Definitely, I know a lot of people who have had different results with the same stuff, so just think it's useful information to have, I suppose. So yeah, if I take you up to date, I mean, I think the kind of turning point, I suppose, for me in my kind of university years was, first of all, I think I get my timeline right. I think it was Dovabet first. I was on the clinical trial for a steroid cream called Dovabet, which is it's a more powerful steroid version of vitamin D derivative cream called Dovanex that I'd used for years. When I was on a clinical trial, I didn't know that. I was fairly certain, but just because of the nature of the cream, and it just seemed so similar, and it worked brilliantly. My skin cleared up. It was. I think my friends will remember at university. I got naked quite a lot for a while, just because of the first time in about maybe at that point, first time in about 12 years that I'd had clear skin. So yeah, I took that as a positive thing, and kind of didn't put a lot of thought into it from a responsible point of view. And I feel like I didn't really receive the full information, and I ended up using Dovabet far too long. And it's given me kind of steroid atrophy in my legs, especially. I've got stretch marks under my arms. I've got stretch marks in my legs, just where basically the steroid cream's too strong. It just thins your skin to the point where it stretches. It gets disfigured, and it gets brittle in some places. Like my skin will just come off at the slightest knock. The other treatment that kind of had that same clearing effect, and thankfully to this point hasn't had any sort of lasting damage, was UVB treatment. Most specifically TL01 broadband treatment recently. The first time I had UVB, I was clear for quite a long time, and it was maybe 6 months I had complete remission, and to me that was apt. It was just heaven. Confidence was high, and I just didn't have to think about myself for a while. But with UVB, it's a temporary thing, and when it comes back, you can't just jump straight back in. There's dangers involved, obviously. So the Dovabet kind of just was always there, and I used it until it got to the point where obviously I'd realised that my skin was taking so much damage, and it was the Dovabet that was doing it. So yeah, I basically, since I stopped my Dovabet, my skin's been worse than it ever has been. And that would be my warning to anyone that uses steroid creams. Use it for a short period. If it gives you remission, if it kind of heals you up for a while, just take that time and enjoy it. But don't try to hold on to it for too long, because in the end, I think it does more bad than it does good. So yeah. So now I've moved on to systemic treatments. I used cyclosporin, didn't work. I used methotrexate. Horrible side effects. Mouth ulcers just became unbearable. Didn't really improve my skin. It seemed to for a while, and then it kind of turned back and never really got anywhere. After that, I used acitretin, which didn't really seem to do much. But then we used it in conjunction with another course of UVB, and I had maybe 2 months of remission, and it came back pretty strong again. After that, we moved on to fumaric acid esters, and that's what I'm taking now. And it's not been fun either, actually. The side effects, from what I'd read and what I'd heard, were kind of maybe slightly less noticeable than, especially methotrexate, which I really didn't enjoy. But it's not been good. I had a lot of nausea. Came very close to passing out at work one day, which was kind of odd. And the lethargy, just I felt so drained. And I suppose that's where I am right now. I've basically just reduced my dose on that because I can't be bothered. It's doing more harm than good. My skin hasn't really seen any noticeable overall improvement. I mean, there's patches where it seems more transparent. It's a little thinner in places, but other places it's redder, it's drier, it's nastier. So it's kind of not looking good either. Although I had to stick it out for another week while, see how it is after 3 months of taking it, because that's really the marker that we're looking for. I'm going a little long here, so I'm going to stop this video and restart for YouTube purposes.